Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Mr. Andy Blair, sir, how are you?
I'm very good, Paul. Thank you for the call, and more than happy to share a couple of memories from my career.
Absolutely, and the name Vladislav Bogisevic or Bogisevic or whatever his name is, it's sometimes unpronounceable for some of us, but what all of us would agree is that he was an absolute genius. You played against Bogie for Coventry City when you went over to New York and took on the famous Cosmos in 1979. So your memories firstly of Bogie?
How it came about, Paul, was that Steve Hunter joined us from Cosmos. He didn't quite do it first time at Villa, but what a fantastic footballer he was. And as part of the deal, we were scheduled to play Cosmos in New York, which was exciting for all of us, particularly a youngster going to New York. And Hunty never stopped raving about this Bogisevic, this footballer who he felt was one of the most outstanding talents he'd ever played with. So I took it on board, what he said, and knowing that he played with Pele and Beckenbauer, I thought, well, crikey, he must be some player. So having been given the opportunity to go to New York with Coventry and play against him at the Giant Stadium and actually mark him was incredible. Well, I kid you not, Paul, he did things on the pitch skills-wise that I couldn't even do off the pitch.
Yeah.
He was absolutely brilliant, and it was a real treat to play against him and realise everything that Steve Hunt was true and more beyond. It was brilliant.
You see, this is the thing when professional footballers talk about players, and Alan Hudson always says to me, Paul, you've got to be on the pitch to understand how brilliant the likes of Bogisevic was and Johan Cruyff and players of that ability, because it is totally different being on the pitch, chasing them, rather than watching from the stands, isn't it? What was Bogie's greatest attribute? What made him the world-class player that he clearly was?
With world class players, and I was fortunate enough to play against several world class players during my career. It's just that it's mentally, it's in your head. He wasn't particularly quick, but he was a strong, powerful, fantastic passer of a ball, footballer, but could read the game and knew what was going to happen. Was ahead of the game, was ahead of his time, and as I say, he certainly taught me a lesson as an 18, 19-year-old kid who had the pleasure to play against him. So he was head and shoulders certainly above me in that particular game, but it was a treat to play against him.
Now, did you play in that wonderful Coventry kit, the old sky blue that had it was almost like the Penguin shirt, but it went through to the shoulder blade, didn't it? And you had that chocolate kit round about that time as well. Because when Hunty joined Coventry, he looked at the kit and said, I'm going back to join the Cosmos.
He probably did, because, and coincidentally, going back to the Cosmos game, I was desperate to get Bogey's shirt.
Yeah.
Because I marked him during the game, even though I didn't do a good job. And at the end of the game, I went to swap shirts, and he said he couldn't. So lo and behold, as we were leaving the stadium, I saw the kit man come out with their basket of kit, and for some reason I still had my shirt, and his shirt was actually on top of the skip. So I just took a look at it and thought, well, I might borrow that for a little while, and I put my shirt in. So I got his shirt. I was absolutely thrilled to bits to get Bogicevic's shirt, and I've still got it. So that's on Bogie. But what a thrill that was. And then we only had dinner on the World Trade Center. There was only one tower in those days, and we all know what happened when they with the Twin Towers, unfortunately. But we had dinner on the windows of the world with Pele and Beckenbauer at our table. It was dream stuff for a kid, absolute dream stuff. But going back to the kit, Paul, I didn't play in the Browne kit very often.
Yeah.
But I seem to recall that West Brom hammered City 7-1 or 7-0 in October '78, because the week after I made my debut, and that was the best day of my life professionally. My Coventry City debut, October 28th, 1978. But West Brom had hammered the club the week before. So inadvertently, via getting hammered and playing in the Browne kit, it did me a favour. I'd never been in the squad, let alone the team, and Gordon Milne put me in the team the next week, and I went on quite a good run with the team and the squad, and the players were great to me. So that started my career. So I always think of the chocolate brown strip with fond memories, but for all different sorts of reasons.
And Pele and Beckenbauer, because Franz was still in the team of the Cosmos, as was Dennis Stewart. He went out there and played for the Cosmos. But Pele had retired in 1977, but Pele was still around in those days. Because I remember in the 1982 Soccer Bowl final, Kenny Hibbett told me that they had a gala before the final, and Pele was there as well. So although Pele wasn't still playing for the Cosmos, he was still part of the Cosmos, wasn't he?
Yes, he was an ambassador. I knew
Yeah,
he'd finished playing, but
yeah,
to be at the same table
yeah.
as Pele and Beckenbauer was, as I say, it was pinch yourself. It was crikey dinner, and that was all thanks to Steve Hunt joining us from Cosmos. And Steve Hunt was a truly tremendous footballer. Pele says that Hunty was one of the best players he ever played with.
Yeah.
So that's some endorsement for Steve Hunt, who also then went on to have a very, very good career in England.
And Giorgio Chinaglia also raved about Steve Hunt's crossing ability. And if Giorgio likes you, then you must be some player, because Giorgio famously tore a strip off Pele in one of the games. I think he's the only player that's ever told Pele what he should do on a football field.
Some going, but I remember that period with particular fondness, Paul, and great memories. And it's thanks to Steve Hunt who I then played many games with at Coventry, and we actually rejoined Aston Villa in '86.
Yeah.
And again, Steve kept the club up that deadline day. He was brilliant. I was average. But he was absolutely brilliant, and we managed to keep the club up for that '85-'86 season. They looked doomed, but what a fantastic footballer Steve Hunt was.
He certainly was, and he's got a great book on with the Cosmos, and does reference you in there playing against Bogisevic. But
Okay.
for a young Coventry team, player and team going to New York, what was the tour like? How did the other guys feel about it? Because I would have thought that they'd played at Hillfields at Coventry, but to go there to New York and see the skyscrapers, was that your first trip to New York?
Oh yeah, it's my only trip. I've not been there since,
Yeah,
and it was an adventure. It was dreams. Just a real adventure. Um, you, you play football as a kid because you just love the game, and then when you become a pro and you think, crikey, I'm playing in front of people, and someone's asking for my autograph, and I'm getting paid to do this. It's just great. Then you get trips to places like New York free of charge, and you get £10 a day spending money. Oh, it's just marvelous. So to see the bright lights of New York, the windows of the world, was just absolutely incredible. However, I think we wanted to go to Studio 54. I'm not sure if um, because it was an end of season game, but because we got beat, Gordon Milne wouldn't let us. I mean, my recollection may be, I'm not even sure it was open in those days, but we thought it was, and we just wanted to go to the Studio 54 nightclub, but we never made that. But as a trip, it was a fantastic adventure.
And that's how the guys got into the Studio 54, by literally queue jumping and saying, "I'm with the Cosmos," hence the title of Hunty's book. And you also played against the great Carlos Alberto as well. I mean, what's it like to be on the same pitch as Carlos?
Well, I have to confess, I didn't even remember that he was playing in the game. So, and I met Carlos many years later on an autograph signing session, and he was a gentleman. I'll never forget the Brazil World Cup final when they won it in 1970, when he scored that absolutely tremendous goal. He was inspiration as an attacking fullback. So to be on the same pitch as him, and thanks for reminding me, because I didn't even realise he was playing. Then it's just great, and it's happy memories. Not that I reflect too much and think back. I live in the present and move forward all the time, Paul. But occasionally it's good to think, you know what, that wasn't too bad.
Absolutely. And you had a good team back in the late 70s, didn't you? Early 80s at Coventry City, and had a damn good manager. Gord Milne, he was some play. What was he like in training?
Fantastic. Him and Ron Wiley always joined in the training.
Yeah.
And Gordon, to this day, a true gentleman, a fantastic man, and he was a great footballer, and for me, a brilliant manager. My favourite manager of all time. I had many managers during my career, but Gordon still to this day, without question, my favourite manager of all time.
Players that you had in your team?
I have a secret. I wore the wrong foundation for years. Then I discovered Il Maquillage. Their AI-powered quiz makes it so easy to find a perfect match, customized for your unique skin tone, undertone, and coverage needs. With 600,000 five-star reviews and 50 shades of flawless natural coverage, this foundation is going viral for a reason. And with Try Before You Buy, you can try your full size at home for 14 days. Take the quiz at ilmaquillage.com/quiz. That's ILMAKIAGE.com/quiz.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With AllTrails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with AllTrails.
Was Gary Thompson there from the late 70s? Ian Wallace played in the chocolate kit, I remember, as did Mick Ferguson. And Terry Yorath was there round about that time. Also was Bobby McDonald. And Hutchinson played there. Tommy Hutchinson played at Coventry, didn't he?
Yeah, all the names mentioned there, Paul, were there. Myself, Tomo, Paul Dyson, Gillespie, Danny Thomas, Mark Haitley, Gary Bannister. We kind of were the new breed coming through, and Terry was my captain. Bobby Mack was my inspiration. Gerry Daly came to the club and was absolutely fantastic for me. So we had a good array of seasoned professionals, and then the young whippersnappers come through, aided by the likes of Barry Powell, and it made for a good combination, a good mix of youngsters and senior pros. And gradually the younger pros came through more and more, and we had a very, very strong squad of youngsters, including Danny Thomas, Jim Blythe and Les Seeley with the older heads at the back there. So it was a good mix. Bobby Mack was fantastic for me, as was Gerry Daly. And as young players, you then don't realise how good the senior pros are for you.
Yeah.
So they kind of lead you the way that you should be into the right path. They're doing the right things, and it's kind of the evolution of being at the club, really, because they then take you on to another level. Bobby Mack was great. Hunty was great. I can't speak highly enough of Gerry Daly as a footballer and as a person. So, and as you can tell from my enthusiasm for it, Paul, I just loved being part of that vibrant, enthusiastic, entertaining, young Coventry City side of the late 70s, early 80s.
And the foundations were built by the late and great Jimmy Hill with his Sky Blue Revolution and Noel Cantwell. And I remember the donkey kick goal by Willie Carr and Ernie Hunt.
I was at the game.
Oh, was you at that game? I interviewed
I
Willie about it.
yes,
Superb. You beat Everton 3-1. I mean,
I was at the game on my stool there because I couldn't see higher than the terraces, and I grew up watching Coventry City all the time. My dad used to take me every home game that we could go to. So I was at that particular game. Jimmy Hill is Mr. Coventry City.
yes.
He also was inspirational. I was lucky enough to be invited to his house for dinner, late 70s, and he was just fantastic to be around, and what an innovator, and what a leader of people, and a charismatic character, and he was a good footballer too, and a great leader, and it's again my pleasure to have been in the company of Jimmy Hill.
And your favourite goal that you scored in a Coventry kit, that wouldn't be against my team, Birmingham City, would it, by any chance?
I was fortunate, Paul, to score a few good goals for Coventry. From the very, was that the one when I chipped the keeper from the penalty spot?
I believe so. Yes. Thank you. Thanks for that.
No, it was. It came to me on the and there was bodies all around, and I just dinked it into the top corner. So it was a good goal. But I took much more pleasure in creating goals than actually scoring. As a midfielder, my job was to get up and down the pitch and create chances for my teammates, and I much preferred to actually create a goal than score a goal, funnily enough. But with those talented players I had around me, we did create chances in an abundance, and it was great to get a few goals along the way as well.
Absolutely. And what a fantastic career you had. And also the first man to ever score a hat-trick of penalties in the League Cup. That's something Bogie never done.
It's one of those fluke evenings, Paul, where it's Sheffield Wednesday versus Luton at Hillsborough. To get 3 penalties in a game is rare anyway.
Yes,
but then for me to score the 3 of them was tremendous. But a happy memory, and I guess if nothing else, I'll always be remembered for that at Sheffield Wednesday, where coincidentally had 2 great years with Howard Wilkinson, who indeed was the best manager I ever had. He was fantastic manager, and I think we finished in the top 6, top 8 of the 2 seasons I was there in the old first division that was, and undoubtedly that was the 2 best seasons of my career. But hat-trick of penalties along the way, but again creating goals for my colleagues and my teammates was far more rewarding than actually scoring.
Fantastic. And you've also done a series of after dinner hosting the various speakers up and down the country. And I have to say, at first hand, I've watched you a couple of times. You're just as good off the pitch as what you are on the pitch. Are you still doing many more of them? And how can people hook up with you and find out more about the wonderful Andy Blair?
Well, thanks for that. I wouldn't call myself wonderful, that's for sure. The evenings have tended to go well, but I'm with good professionals at the same time. We've got a lot of Aston Villa things coming up. There's one in Atherstone soon with Paul Parker and Terry Butcher. I do Coventry City ones, so I enjoy the evenings. I enjoy stretching myself in thinking, doing my research, making sure that I know everything I should know to hopefully make the evening go smoothly, Paul, as you indeed know yourself. So it's not easy, and you can get a little bit nervous, but if at the end of the evening all the guests have had a good evening and have been entertained, then I'll have done my job and make sure that they go home thinking, crikey, that was good, or that was I didn't know that about that particular player. And it's just revisiting old ground and creating memories for the fans who are the lifeblood of any football club and who are really there to be entertained, to be thanked, and to be pleased.
Absolutely. Is there a Facebook page for your evenings with? How can people find out and buy tickets and come and watch you and support and listen to these great tales from great pros that we've had in the past?
Unfortunately not, because I'm very, very low key. I'm very under the radar. I'm very lucky that I get asked to host many of these evenings. So it's just a case. It's mainly Villa and Coventry functions that I get. But for example, the Atherstone one for Paul Parker and Terry Butcher is a good one for me. Out of my comfort zone, not really knowing those two players, but I'm looking forward to it. That's in Atherstone on February the 12th. I'm sorry, I don't know any more than that because I've been asked to host it for Atherstone, a small club there in Atherstone. So I'm sure people would be able to find out. But I'm just under the radar, Paul. I just get on with my little things, and I enjoy the evenings as we approach them, as we do them, and get satisfaction if I think they've gone well.
Absolutely. And finally, Andy, thanks so much for your time. What was the funniest story that you've heard from your evenings with?
There's been many, many funny stories from the Coventry City old boys talking at length about the likes of Noel Whelan and what I hosted him. He was brilliant. Tony Morley is always excellent value with his tales of his little disagreements, should we say, with Ron Saunders, and the time that his house burnt down between the Easter period, and he still had to go and play for Villa on the Easter Monday with his house having burnt down and borrowing clothes. And it's just stories like that told by the players it's happened to. It's gold. They're golden. And Steve Kindon, old Wolves and Burnley player, he's the best guest speaker I've ever hosted. He is just absolutely brilliant. His stories and the way he tells them, Frank Carson style, is absolutely superb. So the evenings with Paul have given me many, many, many good evenings and good memories, as well as my playing days. So it's a real pleasure for me to be able to do them, and it is stretching me and testing me, and I like that.
Superb. Can I thank you again so much for your time, Andy? It's been an absolute blast. Those stories of the past. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Paul, and good luck and continued success. Hope they all can go well for yourself.
Thank you, and I'll see you soon when you're hosting the Villa Legends. I think there's Nigel Spink, Ken McNaught, and David Geddes, and Tony Morley used to nick his clothes. Then even they all burnt down.
that was when the house burnt down, and he borrowed David's clothes, David Geddes, and it's all nostalgia, but it's worth its weight for sure.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thanks, Andy.
Take care.
Speak soon. Cheers. Thank you. Bye. And thanks for listening, guys. Bye for now.
Need new glasses or want a fresh new style? Warby Parker has you covered. Glasses start at just $95, including anti-reflective, scratch-resistant prescription lenses that block 100% of UV rays. Every frame's designed in-house with a huge selection of styles for every face shape. And with Warby Parker's free home try-on program, you can order 5 pairs to try at home for free. Shipping is free both ways, too. Go to warbyparker.com/covered to try 5 pairs of frames at home for free. warbyparker.com/covered.